Hey y'all, my name is Tamara Andress. I am your Fit and Faith podcast host, and I am pumped to be here. Just me, no words, no scripts, no intros, no outros. I love authenticity. I hope to breed vulnerability, and I usually do this alongside another dreamer, mover, shaker, entrepreneur, passionista is what I love to call them. If you're a dude, then a dude. But I am loving just coming together in community with other people to share their high and low stories, to share their journeys to come back, because I believe ultimately that's where God would have us. He would have us on the mountaintop. And even though we learn a ton in the pit and in the valley, God would want us right now, especially in this season of life, in this time of our culture, to shine. And so here I am. I want to teach you how to shine. I want to be alongside you when you get your glow. I want to catapult you into your calling, whatever that is. So this isn't a fitness podcast. This is not a religious banter, though we preach Jesus all day long. And this is not just about nutrition or health or wealth, though I like some green, and I know you do too. It's not okay for us to not be okay with talking about all of these things in unison. You guys, we don't just need a mental health podcast. We don't just need a fitness podcast. We don't just need a religious, spiritual podcast. It needs to blend. This is what Fit and Faith is all about. It's all about creating alignment, connectivity. It's about pursuing your wholeness and claiming it over your life and over the lives of the loved ones that you have around you in your community. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to get to know you more. You can like, review, subscribe, whatever it is. Send me an email, DM me. It's me. I have an amazing team alongside me, but you guys are getting me for now. So enjoy. I'm so pumped to have a coffee conversation with you, is what I'd love to call them. Don't have my coffee right now, but I have it in my system, as you can see. All the love. Let's do this together and keep going for your dreams, y'all. Welcome.
Hello.
I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
This is my girl. Man, we connected like 3 years ago. I remember you beelining after my first Sunday experience at Parkway Christian Center, bawling, ugly crying the whole time, and a stranger approaching you just glowing, and she poured fire into my marriage at that moment. And you just laid into us. You had no idea who I was, no idea who we were, no idea our predicament, and it was exactly what we needed to hear. And we pretty much never missed a Sunday, a Wednesday, a Monday, any day that Parkway had something going on. We were there, because you and Jay were there, because Anthony and Morgan were there. And I've just been so blessed by your friendship, by the powerful presence of the Lord every time that I feel like we're together.
Amen.
I will never forget our intimate experience. We were supposed to have a threesome in that. Well, that sounds horrible. We were supposed to have a threesome in the hotel room, was what I was about to say, with Morgan Hart at a Christian conference, people.
Okay,
yes. Let's figure it out. 3 women were having an overnight stay at a Christian conference.
Yes.
And one of them got sick. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, you're going to leave me. Like, I've never really had one-on-one intimate experience with Madelyn, like getting to know you. And it ended up being such a special, blessed time. Yeah. And I feel like ever since that time in our friendship, I've constantly like, you have to meet her, you have to meet her, you have to meet her. So I am pouring in all of the expectation right now. I'm not supposed to do that, but I know God's going to show up, because He always does when we're together.
Yeah, He does.
So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor, it's a pleasure, and I just look forward to, what God's going to do and just how He's going to use us just talk, and somebody can relate to what we're saying, and just those aha moments.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, well, I look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I want to say, you are such a light. You glow from the inside out. Your smile is infectious. Your spirit just exudes joy, and you are also a joy to be around. And I didn't know her at all, but there was something about her, you and your husband, and the Lord just put something inside of me, and I had to.
Yeah.
I had to. If you don't, you miss those moments.
Yeah.
And you never know what one word can do to save and change somebody's life.
It's so true. And I feel like ever since I've known you, you've always been that person to just like grasp hold of it and live in the moment in the right ways. And we can also live in the moment in the wrong ways. But since God has taken control of your life in such a like evident way since I've gotten to know you, and I want to be better about that. And I feel like the podcast has given me the opportunity to just you say what you're feeling and what your heart is telling you to do at that moment. And so often, and I think it's just because most of the time we're down on our phone, or there's no eye contact anymore, or there's no rest to just be, that people don't do that. So I'm glad that you're an example of that in my life, for sure.
I'm glad I can be, and I'm glad you met me on the latter end of my life, because you met me at a good point. Because you feel like I was a hot mess.
Weren't we all? Weren't we all before Jesus got a hold of us?
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, he left the 99 to come and get this one.
I love that.
And so his love is just, and that's for everybody.
Yeah, it's so
That
true.
he is no respecter of person. He will leave everyone else to come get that one you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you're never too far that he can't reach you. I mean, he literally went into hell and took the keys from Satan.
Yes.
So, I mean, you know, he's just such a loving God.
He is.
So.
I had remembered when you said the hot mess. I think that so often nowadays, especially moms, we like claim these phrases over our lives, hot mess being one of them. And for a while, I thought it was cute, like Hot Mess Express teas or the mugs or the messy bun and all of that. And I realized the more that it was happening, the more that women were owning it, and that it was okay that we were discombobulated, or that our lives looked like they were in shambles when you're in your home and there's toys everywhere and there's chaos everywhere. But I don't think that those coined cute phrases are how God establishes us to be.
I agree.
And I started just like declaring otherwise.
I agree.
And when I would see these slogans, I'm like, man, that's such a shame that society has pressed that upon us.
Because one thing my mom always taught me growing up was, what you confess, you possess.
Yeah.
So what you say is what you have. So if you say, you know, I'm a hot mess, then that is exactly what you're going to be.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I was a hot mess.
Yes.
You know, and we have to be very careful about. It may seem like, oh, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because the power of life and death comes right out of this hole right here.
Yeah.
And so if you speak life, you'll get life. You know, it says, give and it shall be given, good measure, pressed down. That's even with the words that you say.
Yeah.
Whatever you're giving into the atmosphere, it never leaves the atmosphere.
So true.
So you have to be very careful. That's something that even now I still work on. Look, we never reach Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Of course.
Never.
Yeah.
We're always striving. And people say, oh, you shouldn't have to strive, but we have to have some kind of goal that we set.
Yeah.
That we have to reach for. So we're always reaching to please God and be a better us every day.
Absolutely.
I mean, and we're going to stumble. We're going to the Bible says all have sinned and fallen short.
Yeah.
So putting an expectation that's too high is not good, but just realizing I'm just going to be in his presence today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take some time this morning and just sit in my daddy's lap.
Yeah.
You know, and I took some time. I was doing this for the last few weeks, and I would put like this soaking music on. There's some for like an hour, some 2 hours, some 5, and I would just sit. And it was a long time ago, and I've had different people prophets say, you know, God wants your time, God wants your time, God wants your time. And I'm just like, oh, I don't have time, and this and that, and waking up early, oh my God. And then I read in one of my devotionals where it said Jesus woke up like before everybody else did to spend time with his Father. So it's like,
oh, it says right here. It tells me where to find the time.
Then I can do it too. And I would just sit, and I would just close my eyes, and I would just imagine him. And he would take me to all these different places. He never really spoke to me. He hasn't spoken to me yet.
Okay.
But he would grab my hand. The first time he grabbed my hand, it was at the bottom of this mountain. And it was like snow. and frost everywhere. And then we walked up, he looked at me and he just smiled. And then we walked up the mountain and the season changed and it was like springtime. And I mean, the grass was green. Everything was just like, the colors were amazing, rich, deep, beautiful. Like and it was like this warm, from the sun. Yeah. But then it was like this cool breeze, and it wasn't too much. It was the perfect amount of everything. We get to the top of the mountain, and he moves the clouds out of the way, and I saw the whole world. And I believe that the whole world can be ours as far as being a conduit for God to work through and use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's another fun one. He took me to a carnival.
Oh, yes.
And it was this little stick, but this huge pink cotton candy.
Yes.
And he gave me, I love cotton candy.
Of course you do. And of course God would give you what you love.
Oh my gosh. But everything was abundant.
Yeah.
And there was, we were walking around, but then the thing was, it wasn't just, he was holding my hand, but he won the prizes for everybody. Everybody had a prize.
I love that.
And then that thing where you take the big hammer and you slam it down. He just touched it and it just went
Boom.
like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
We were on the swing, the huge swing thing. I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah.
And I remember just looking at him, and my hair was blowing in the wind. His hair was blowing in the wind. Same kind of feeling of the warm, but the breeze and the perfect. And he just smiled at me.
That's incredible. That's so incredible.
And there were so many more.
Yeah.
But if you just take the time to just sit.
Yeah.
Even if it's for 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
As long as you open up, he'll show up.
Yeah. And I truly believe that. And I was in a time of really like praying over the concept of like prophetic and really, really just like craving this gifting that we have access to, literally we have access to all of the giftings. And what it helped me with the other ones, healing, prophetic, vision,
What are you talking about?
About the giftings that you can have. Like we all have access to those now.
Yeah,
I can't think of what the other ones are, but those were three that I was really like, okay, I could see as tangibles. And I felt like I had reached this like kind of peak in my experience with God. And it was like one after another. I was just like being blown away. And I'm like, okay, God, like there's more. Let me have more. What can it be? And so praying over the prophetic and then having a prophetic experience literally the following morning at a coffee shop, which is literally what started Fit in Faith. And I just love this whole concept of being able to have these visions and being able to imagine with the Lord and create with the Lord. And that is what Fit in Faith is about for me. And what my heart is for other women is to know that they have this power within them and that it's not just something that is for right now. It's what you've experienced since you were little and you've always ignored, or something that you could be in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s. It's not over. No. Like you're here and intentional, and God has you here for such purpose. And so one of the visions, and it was so funny when you said the snow, my head just like fell backwards because about 2 weeks ago, I got woken up, and morning is my like, just my time. I mean, whether I'm working out, whether I'm reading, whether it's my time of gratitude before my feet hit the ground, and it's my prayer time with the Lord. He woke me up at like 3:00, which is a little too early, but sitting there, and I had this vision, and I don't like snow unless I'm snowboarding. Okay. I want it to be a beach all the time, year round. Yes. And so I was on top of a mountain, and there was snow everywhere. Oh, wow. And I was skiing, which I've never done before. I've only snowboarded, but I was at the top of the mountain, and I just felt him saying like, you reached the peak. But then the instant reminder that just because you're going downhill doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Yeah. And I feel like so much of my life I spent going uphill, achieve. And I talked about that last time with Naomi, this like natural achievement built into me with my Enneagram, this my personality type, but to break that off and now feeling like, because I've in this space that I'm in now, I feel so much at ease and at peace with where I'm at, but it's not over. Like,
Yeah.
it's promised that there's going to be trials. It's promised there's going to be tribulations.
Absolutely.
So it was just so interesting that we both had that like snow experience.
Yeah.
Because I just woke up that day being like, okay, I'm about to go down, but there's going to be a boulder in the middle of where I'm going, or the tree line is going to change and I'm going to have to go this way and it's going to be too sharp and I'm going to fall. But knowing that I'm still so excited, that adrenaline rush is still there.
Yeah.
And I think God wants us to live in that space of like excitement, and there's more to Him. We can always unveil more.
Absolutely.
It's being eager for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes endurance.
Yeah. It's a good word right there.
It takes endurance.
It takes a lot of endurance.
When you're running,
Yep.
when you're working out, whatever you're doing, there has to be some kind of stamina that sustains you and keeps you. Because if you don't, you'll want to give up. Yeah. Not saying that even when you're working out or you're running that you don't want to give up.
Right.
So, okay, I had this vision again.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's hear it. I love it. No, don't apologize. It's amazing.
So there was a person at the start line of the 400 meter, which is the fastest sprint.
Yeah.
So in the vision, this person, God was in them and all around them, right? And so when the gun went off, the person took off and they were running. Mm-hmm. But the whole time that they were running, God was running with them, right? So if anybody's familiar with the 400 meter run, it is, my dad said, it separates the men from the boys.
Okay, got it.
So I ran that. My dad ran it. My grandfather ran it. My brother ran it. It is like no joke.
Yeah.
So you have to sprint full speed the whole time around the track.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So at about the 200 point, you go into the second turn, and that's when you feel like the weight, almost like of the world, like they call it the bear on your back.
Oh, okay.
Right? But the whole time in this vision, Jesus is coaching that person. You got this.
Yeah.
You got this. You got this. Don't give up. Keep going. Lean in some more. Lean in some more. Lean in some more. And then when you come out of the turn, that's when the race kind of defines you. Yeah. Because at that moment, you have the last straightaway to sprint. And a lot of time, I mean, your legs are like so heavy.
Yeah.
And I mean, any sport is like a mental thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so normally when you come out of that second turn, that's when you got to shift the gears. Mm-hmm. Some people get that extra kick and they just take off. And then some, they just lag in the back. But the whole time, Jesus was that voice. You got this. You got this. Keep going. Keep going. And because of his voice, that person in the vision had that extra kick. And then eventually he won the race. But that's how it is in life. Yeah. We have family situations that we go through. And it's like, you need some endurance and stamina to deal with the people you have now picked yourself.
Yes, that's so true.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You need stamina and endurance in your marriage. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are one. Mm-hmm. You are two different individuals.
Oh, right.
Two different backgrounds, two different ways of, upbringing and stuff. Yeah. With your kids, you need stamina and endurance. Yeah. Because they would try to drive you crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They would try, when they're little, as their personalities are developing and budding. Yeah. But that's something that we have to have, and it talks about it. It talks about like life being a race. Yeah. It talks about having endurance to the end, and pressing towards the mark for the price of the high calling. We have to press and push every day. And there's some days where it just feels like everything is just coming against you, where it feels like you're just weighted down. But in those moments, that's when it's the defining moment. Yeah. Do you stay and lay in
what
the
are you
bed?
Gonna do? Yeah.
Or do you say, I am not going to be defeated by this thing? Yeah. And then here, Jesus, you got this. Yeah. You got this. But one thing I will say is that you have to stay close to him all the time. Yeah. His word alone gives you that push. It gives you that kick. It gives you the nutrients that your spiritual body needs. If you don't eat the right food, you'll die of lack of nourishment. Yeah. So what happens to your spirit, man? So a lot of us are eating healthy, but spiritually we're malnourished.
Absolutely. That's literally like the whole concept of my book, is like all of the analogies, and we're such a sports-driven society, fitness-driven society, and yet we can't get our spirit man healthy.
And you cannot be a malnourished Christian. You cannot.
You can't.
Because how can you give
Yeah.
when you're on E?
Right. You have nothing left to outpour, to overflow. There's none of it.
And don't try to pull something out of a hat, because that you're just...
Doesn't work.
It just doesn't. And then you end up hurting someone else.
Yes. It's so true. And the broken people or hurt people, and whole people heal people.
Yeah.
And so that is such a goal of mine, to constantly be in that state of healing my own self, because I'm surely not there yet. I would like to meet the person who is, but at the same time, like, I know the intention that each time we gain a new, like, nutrient piece of wisdom, it's not meant for us to keep. No. It's so meant for us to share. And that's like the component of sharing our testimony and sharing how we got to this place. Like, oh, you smile all the time. How do you do it? Oh, my Jesus gives me that.
That's right.
And I've lived a crazy life. I've had the chaos. I've had the mental hot mess express situation so many times, time and time again. And yet, while my smile became my defense mechanism, it was also something God never took from me, ever. Mm-hmm. And I almost waited for it when I felt like I was in the lowest of lows of my life. And I even prayed about it, like, God, I don't want to have that ability anymore. But what shifted went from, this facade of happiness to this deep-rooted joy. Mm-hmm. My smile still illuminated, I feel like, the same way. I've been told since I was little, your smile lights up a room. Mm-hmm. But instead of it being this facade that I was exuding, that was exhausting, mm-hmm. it became this place of excitement because I had the opportunity to share why.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fake. And I could easily say, I'm smiling, but this is also happening. Right. I'm smiling, and this is simultaneously going on. And it's that point of authenticity.
Yes.
Right?
You said something, and it hit my soul, because I was in 100% agreement. You were saying that you can't be too authentic.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is too real? I mean, there is a too real,
sure.
But it's better to give the truth and be honest, because I feel like in today's society, the generation beneath us,
yeah.
and beneath us and beneath us, they want real.
Yeah. They're looking for it.
It's time out for, and before us, like my mom and her mom and her mom, it was kind of a hush-hush thing. Like, you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
This stays here.
It's so true.
And then people finding out stuff later on in the years. Like, they have these DNA tests.
Yeah.
And this person says, oh, this is your dad.
Yes.
And then you take this test, like, wait a minute, hold on. And I just feel like we have to be authentic. We have to be real, because people want to know that they're not the only person going through that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
People want to know, like, well, how did you get out of it? How are you so happy?
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah. Well, otherwise they feel like they're in isolation.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it becomes just like the whole concept of the highlight reel, whether you're on social media or you're not on social media. If you're living your life in this facade of a highlight reel to the neighbor, to the person at work, to all of these other people, they feel completely isolated. And I remember feeling like nobody else could possibly feel this way.
Right.
And when I walked into Parkway, it was the first place that I ever have been, and I've been to many, many churches, mm-hmm. that I saw somebody else crying, that I saw a sister come up to me and say, I don't know what's going on, but this is what's going on with me, and just know that it's okay.
Yeah.
And I hope that there's more churches like that. And if you're not in one, seek one out.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
for sure.
So essential. But it doesn't have to be in that space. It can be in the work environment. It can be in your neighborhood. It can be when you're driving down the road and you're talking to your best friend on the phone. How you doing, girl? Like, actually tell them. Say, how are you?
Yeah.
Go below the surface.
Right.
Many, many levels below.
Yeah, we have to... it's about a deeper relationship. Yeah. And I think the more deeper you get in God, the less shallow you are.
That's so good.
And I don't know, I just feel like it's important that we go deeper with God.
Yeah.
Because you can't reach someone at a deep level if you're not deep.
Yeah, it's so true.
And there's, and you just think about like just social media and people show you what they want you to see. And so I remember when I was in school 2 years ago, and I took this class.
Yeah.
I think I told you about it, the psychological research and ethics.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. So I needed a 70, and I got like a 68.
Yeah.
And I was like, I passed, I passed. And I posted on Instagram, and then I realized that I didn't pass.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just posted this thing about I passed, so. And so I did another video, and I'm like, I don't want people to judge me, but I mean, you know me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a realist.
Yep.
And I'm about authenticity too.
Yeah.
And so I posted another video, and I'm like, I thank you for everybody who congratulated me in this and this and this and this, but I didn't pass the class.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to show vulnerability.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think for me, and my biggest lesson in all of my relationships was in my marriage.
Yeah.
And I think while that's supposed to be the space that we're supposed to be most authentic, I was not for even when we met. And it wasn't intentional. It was subconscious covering.
It's build up over
right?
the years, yeah.
And even now when I conceptualize the marriage between God and the church and the bride and that whole concept, I didn't get that even on my wedding day. I didn't even conceptualize it then. And I so eagerly, since I've been baptized, I want to remarry my husband so bad.
Do it.
I want to just be dressed in white,
yeah,
in such a way that he's never seen me. And I feel like it's such a sad thing that people don't comprehend that component of femininity, of sexuality, and then, of course, of spirituality.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be this grandiose, intimate experience.
Yeah.
And we, being imperfect, and society being grossly skewed, they take it from us at such a young age.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And so we owe it to these generations below us to like strip all that away, strip all the lies, and to be able to give them like peace in knowing that we all mess up. It's okay to talk about it.
Exactly.
And it's knowing that when you do talk about it, it's going to help somebody else.
Yeah. And one thing I've learned is that whenever you go through something and there's something hidden inside of you, whenever you expose that thing, that's literally you shining the light on the enemy.
Yeah.
That means he has no other place to hide.
Yeah.
And that's where the freedom begins.
So true.
You have to open your mouth and tell it.
Yeah.
And you have to. You have to. Nobody wants to. What we do now in society is just Band-Aid, 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 Band-Aid. Yeah. But that sore is like 3 layers deep.
Yeah.
And so Jay was saying like people are afraid to like get to the bottom of the wound.
Yeah.
So he loves those videos where people are like in their pimples pop.
Stop it. I do too, and it's so gnarly.
He loves it. But you think about it, you have to go deep to get it all out.
Yes, it's so true.
Right?
Yeah.
So how many of us in our lives need to go deeper?
Yeah, it's so true.
Need to go back further.
Yep.
Need to nobody wants to face the hurt. Nobody wants to relive the hurt. Yeah. But if that momentary feeling of affliction is going to bring you eternal freedom, it's like getting your ears pierced. Like,
yeah.
That you feel that pain for a moment.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Paul said, but it's about a light affliction.
Yeah.
Might have been Peter, I don't know.
It's okay.
But you know what I'm saying? Like we have to dig deep.
Yeah.
And expose the enemy, because then he has no other place to hide. And that's how true healing begins, so that you can be the best wife to your husband, so that you can be the best husband to your wife, that you can be the best child to your parent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, and a lot of times when expose the enemy, then people are there to say, okay, we're going to keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure you're okay.
That's so true.
Like my son, he had shared something with me, and he had watched something on the 700 Club. It was a story, and it hit him, and he's 12.
Yeah.
And he was like, he called me, he was like, Mom, can you pray for me, because I don't want this thing anymore.
Wow.
And so I prayed for him.
Yeah.
We renounced, shut doors, sealed with the blood of Jesus, all of that. Like there's no more cracks and crevices for you to come through here.
Yeah, yeah.
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
Because you got to be a watchman too.
Yeah.
You know, and then after that, then he kind of went, it was almost like a mourning, because he exposed it, but then he had to leave it alone.
Yep. And that's so many things. Doesn't matter what the
could be
conversation
anything.
is. It could be food.
Yes.
I mean, it could be a cigarette. It could be, all of them are equal. And it means so much that he had the bravery.
Yeah.
Especially to tell your mom, no
Yeah.
matter what it is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she loves you and he knows that you're going to be his cradle.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, she also created you.
Yeah.
And so he knew the disappointment level that was going to come with it.
Yeah.
Just as we do when we fall at the feet of Jesus.
And you know what I did? I just loved him.
Yeah.
I didn't express any disappointment.
Yeah.
I was righteously pissed.
Yeah. Sure.
I was like, not today, Satan. Oh, no, you not.
Yes.
And I just loved on him, and I loved on him, and I loved on him. And I said, listen, this is what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Get in your Bible.
Yep.
You can be in your Bible app and set it to a certain time where you go to sleep listening to the word. You know, change your timeline.
Yep.
You know, and I'm very, I'm in his Instagram because it's on my phone.
Yeah.
But just all these different things. And so, you know, and then a lot of times when you let go of something, and I know this, when you let go of something, you're weak.
Yeah.
But his strength is made in our weakness. That's how we have a testimony. That's how we have a story. We're at ground zero at some point in our life, and we watch the reconstruction of a building that he makes us.
Yeah.
And just loving on him and realizing, okay, well, right now you're kind of like in a triage. So I'm going to make sure that I nurse you like I need to. But after a while, you know, a bird with a broken wing, you don't send it out of the nest.
Right.
You need some like little physical therapy. So I told him, I said, listen, if you don't do what I tell you, you can't expect to have any different. You can never do the same thing, expect different results.
Yeah, that's so good.
So if you're not reading your word, if you're not, it was so funny because he went to play basketball with his friends. He's like, listen, I don't want to listen to anything with cussing on it.
Yeah.
So they put on every praise is to
Yeah.
our God.
But how good is that?
And it was so funny. And then I heard him singing it later on. It was like a joke to them. But I was like, anytime the enemy comes, you were saying every praise is to our God. And we have to do that.
Yes.
We have to do that.
So true.
And then as we get stronger and stronger and stronger, that thing, he takes away the sting.
Yeah.
He takes away the sting of the memory. He takes away the sting of the pain, of the hurt, of the betrayal, of the distrust. He'll take it away because you know that in him is a safe place.
Yeah. It's so true.
He is the safest place to be.
Yeah. And you said that at the beginning. You said, spend time in your daddy's lap. And it's an easy thing for me to conceptualize because I was a total daddy's girl when I was little. But I remember in my 20s, and especially when my late 20s, when I came back into Parkway, and really in my faith, they were expressing like a father. And I feel like there's such a difference between a daddy and a father. And while God exemplifies both, and Jesus exemplifies both in our life, I think there's such an importance to both roles.
Yeah.
That daddy, that mother that you just served to your son, to be able to just take him in your arms and just stroke his hair.
Yeah.
But to also know that there's that component of your father that you just disappointed, but he still loves you, right? He still sees you, and he knows every fiber of your being, and he knows the intention behind the goodness within you. And he just wants to strip you of all of that other negativity.
Yeah, he does.
That is constantly in our face.
He does.
I mean, music, especially for the generations below us, and I think for me even, I mean, that is a magnitude of a problem.
Do you know how many CDs I had to burn and throw away?
Yes.
And it was funny because we were listening to some soul music in the car.
Yeah.
And we were listening to the words. And I was like, did you hear that?
Did you just hear that? Yeah.
It was in somebody's secretary and how we make the man's life. I don't even know who it was.
Yeah.
It was some soul person.
Sure.
But I'm like, and you just think about over time. There was this thing on Netflix. It was the 90s.
Yep.
Right? Because 80s made me.
Yeah.
But the 90s
raised
me.
you. Yeah.
But like listening to the different lyrics and how the feminine thing came. It was actually a really good segment. They had like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It was really good. And it just talked about like that era.
Yeah.
Alanis Morissette, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
But then you listen into the lyrics and I'm like, these are the seeds.
Yep.
These are the seeds that I planted.
Yep.
These are the words that I repeated over and over again. So this is why this happened to me. This is why I walked through that path. And there was a certain type of music that I listened to. And I mean, I listened to all kind, but those were seeds that were planted. You got to be careful of what you're planting.
And does that not literally go completely full circle to what you confess you possess?
It does.
It's the exact same thing, whether you're grooving to the beat or you're saying it because you're exhausted. Mm-hmm. It is claiming stake on your life.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart. It makes me so angry. I mean, even to the point of my little guy who's in kindergarten, and he's having trouble like with words and letters and things like that and comprehending reading. It's his first exposure to it ever. And for him, who hasn't even practiced it yet, he hasn't even understood the concepts, to say, I can't read. And I'm like, buddy, yes, you can read. You just started learning letters less than a year ago. Like, it is okay.
Right.
And me and Gary just sat down and we just kept saying, I walked in on Gary saying this to him and he was like, repeat after me. I am strong. And Cooper, if you know Cooper, he will some strength. He is strong.
Yeah.
I can climb. Oh, I can climb. I like to sing. I like to sing. I like to dance. Oh, I can dance. And then he's like, I can read. And he's like, I can read. He's like, no, say it strongly. I can read. I can read. No, say it like you mean it.
Ooh,
I can read.
Yeah.
And I had tears in my eyes just watching the father, the daddy, just reignite what he's already gifted within you.
Right.
Just like these women that I have the opportunity to stand alongside and coach and say, what are your passions? The amount of people that come to the table and say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have a hobby. I don't have a passion. I'm like, what do you mean? Yes, you do. What do you do in your spare time? What is fun? What is freeing? And they mostly have to go way back to their childhood.
Yeah.
And that just is so sad. We're too busy to be passionate. We're too busy to have a hobby. Yeah. We're too busy to be anything less than a hot mess.
Yeah.
The enemy is having a heyday. Mm-hmm. He is grooving to all of those jams, and it is killing me.
Yeah.
I had to cut off country music. And people like country music, like the good old honky tonk, like that's just great. I think Anthony was talking about honky tonks at church last week. And I'm like, please don't say that again. Thank you, Anthony, for implanting that in my brain. And I mean, you listen to the words. And it's so sad. And country music was like everything I listened to. I went to every concert, got the mega ticket every year. And now people are like, you want to go? And I'm like, if we're going to dinner before, if I can go just to watch the performance for maybe a little bit and then I'll bow out. You have to set such high boundaries.
You do.
Against the world.
You do. Yeah. There was a phrase that I saw and I just swear by it. Givers have to set limits because takers have none.
Ooh, that's gotta be written
and
down.
The world all it does is take. The world doesn't give you anything. And it'll tell you that you are nothing. You know? So you have to be secure in who you are. And it's okay to grow out of something, even if you've always done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Growth, and the Lord will stretch you.
Yeah.
He will. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. But if anything is worth having, you're going to go through some kind of opposition for it.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
Some people, things just come to them easy. Other people have to work for it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to let things go.
Yeah.
It is okay to let things go. And if it's not allowing you to move freely, and if it's constricting you, then have a conversation with Abba Father and say, you know, God, I surrender this thing to you.
Yeah.
Because whenever you lay anything at his feet, there's always a great exchange. There's always a great exchange. And surrender is the key. Mm-hmm. We live in a world where it's like, you know, being vulnerable is not smart. Being surrendered is not smart. Like, you know, you got to be tough and this and that. And it's all a facade.
So true.
But the thing is God doesn't look at the outward. He looks on the inside.
Yeah.
So what does your heart look like?
Yeah.
I don't care how well put together your makeup is.
Yep.
I don't care how many pair of shoes you have. I don't care what designer you're wearing. Who cares?
Yeah.
You can't take none of that to the grave with you.
So true.
It doesn't matter how much you pay for your highlights. It doesn't matter how much money's in your bank account.
Yeah.
What kind of extensions you have. How much your lashes cost. How much bedazzled your nails are. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
None of that matters. What he looks at is on the inside.
Yep.
And I remember a long time ago, he showed me this apple. And it was beautiful, shiny, and just so beautiful. And then I saw the core, which was rotting.
Yes.
And he said, there's a lot of people like this.
That's sad.
So what do we do to make sure that our core is healthy?
Yeah. That's like my heart. That literally is my call. I feel it like in my bones when I hear it, is that whole mind, body, soul component of health.
Yeah.
And we have the availability to get there.
We do.
And it is through surrender. It is saying, God, I can't do it by myself.
Yeah.
And my spouse can't do it for me.
Right.
My kids aren't going to fix it.
Right.
My mama ain't going to do it either.
Mm-hmm.
She's tried already because that's what us moms like to do.
Right.
We want to fix it for them.
Right.
And those Band-Aids don't fix anything. There will
temporary.
always be this scar. And God has the ability to like literally not remove it because it's a part of our testimony, but to heal it to a place that, you know, Pastor Anthony said the component of, I think it's Japanese, it could be Chinese, pottery. And it's where, you know, the vase has completely shattered. And instead of it being tossed to the side, as America often does, anything that's broken, chipped, old, dented, it's done. You get a brand new shiny one, just like the apple. They take the gold, that gold silvered lining, it's glue. And it's not gold,
right?
Though it probably was for the upper echelon of society,
right.
And they mend it back together. And so God has the ability to take these broken pieces of our lives, and He's going to make those scars so radiant, so beautiful that it doesn't matter what anybody else sees, because when He looks at you, it's magnificent. And it's exactly what it was intended to be all along, because you're back in that place of wholeness.
Yeah.
And that's how He wants all of His sons and daughters.
Yes.
He wants us to go to bed whole. He wants us to wake up whole. He wants us to live day by day whole. And it's not easy. And it's not even really possible on this side of heaven.
Right.
But we can surely try.
Yeah. And it's a choice.
Yes.
Because there's some people that they want the attention of the pain.
That's true too.
They want, you know, someone to come and coddle them. And not that we shouldn't, but there comes a day where it's like, when do you get up? You don't stay in physical therapy forever.
Nope. The
You
bird
go to
has
get
to
stronger,
fly. Yeah.
right? You go to get stronger,
Yeah.
and then you're released because you know what? You've met the goal here.
Yes.
And so we have to, everything is a choice.
Yeah.
We have to choose love.
Yeah.
We have to choose forgiveness. We have to choose to let go. We have to choose, I want more.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice. He gives us free will.
Yeah. And that is a
He
part
doesn't-
that people always are confused by. And I'm like, because he loves you.
He didn't make robots.
Right. He could have.
He could have did whatever he
Yeah.
wanted. I mean, look at the world. It was
Right?
beautiful.
It is amazing.
You know, but even in the world, there's variety.
Yeah.
So why would he make us all the same?
Yeah.
We have a choice to be who he's called us to be or be what we want to be. And there was a time where I struggled with, I want it my way.
Mm-hmm.
That way didn't really go well at all.
Yeah.
You know, and then we put ourselves in these places where we just keep hitting a wall. And then when you realize and you surrender and you say, I can't keep living like this. There has to be something more.
Yeah.
And you stop trying to do it yourself. Stop trying to fix it yourself. Stop trying to make it what you want it to be and allow him to reshape and reform. Get all the dents out.
Yeah.
Man, you on the way to glory.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yes.
You're on the right. And I always say this, everything that Jesus has for us is like a red carpet rolled out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have a red carpet experience.
Yeah.
Where we can walk in our finest attire.
Yeah.
I'm talking about not naturally,
Yeah.
but spiritually.
Yeah.
Like whatever you choose, I would wear this, and this.
Yeah.
You can put it on. And
Yeah.
he's at the other end, just waiting, like with his arms out wide. We can all have our red carpet experience. We just have to choose him.
So good. And that just brings me back to the bridal experience.
Yes.
Like it's the same, and God gives us the earthly example of our bride and groom as a piece of what goodness and greatness it is to be with him in that same capacity.
Yes.
So, standing at the end of the aisle in all white, or standing at the end of the red carpet in all glitz and glam,
Mm-hmm.
it should be the same experience.
Yes.
And so I just want to seal that over women. I want over girls, over the little ones dreaming of one day being a bride. Because I remember having that experience, and my wedding day was very stormy and rainy, so it didn't go according to plan.
Right.
And the front of the building actually got struck by lightning while we were on the beach 100 yards away with 300 umbrellas.
Oh, wow.
So I have some naysayers who think that there was intention behind that day and that God was trying to tell us something. And I believe God was trying to tell us something. And it was the enemy trying to prevent it from happening, and us saying, oh, we're getting married on the beach. That's where we were meant to be.
He will try really hard.
So hard.
He will try ridiculously hard because this is what it is. It's covenant.
Yeah.
God is about covenant.
Yeah.
The enemy hates it.
Yeah.
Because covenant means togetherness.
Yeah.
Covenant means unity.
Yeah.
And marriage is not just people. Marriage is not just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It is a covenant that God honors. Mm-hmm. And I know all about the whole, just adversity in the beginning of our marriage.
Yeah.
Because he knows when two or more get together that God is in the midst.
Yep.
So if he can just keep people separate and separated and divided and just with division and all this kind of stuff, then he thinks he's won, but we can choose to say no.
Yeah.
I'm going to be joined with my sister.
Yeah.
I'm going to be joined with my husband.
Yeah.
I'm going to let everything else. I don't care if it rained,
Yep.
if it lightened.
Yep.
That's just, hey, God is all about our marriage because he's talking.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, it's so true.
So, yeah, I believe that those dreams that were once what we dreamt about, even though today is different, it can still be a dream for women now.
I agree.
It is okay to still dream.
Yeah. I love that.
It is okay.
I love it. I think those dreams, it's what you're doing with God in those wee hours of the morning when you're sitting having these visions of the carnival or the ski slope. It's him dreaming with you.
Yeah.
And so many people, what's the saying? Like, get your head out of the clouds. Like, God, that's exactly where he wants your head. Not in this place.
Right.
With all this carbon
in
monoxide.
Places, yes. Greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
Global warming.
Right? He doesn't want us in there. Like, that was never his intent to begin with. So I'm just so grateful for you. I love you. I hope that people listening today got a little taste of Madelyn, of the sweetness that has just been implanted in your soul that you abundantly and freely give to other people.
Amen.
And I'm grateful for your marriage. You celebrated 14 years yesterday.
14 years yesterday.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. We owe the podcast to Joseph Stallings today.
Thank you, Pastor Jay. Thank you. It was it's a blessing to celebrate 14. Yeah. It is a blessing. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not, but
it's a beautiful. I know. And it's been a beautiful ride.
Yeah.
And it will continue to be. And there, I have it hanging in my house. Something about, I don't have it exactly memorized, which is very bizarre, but it's my favorite love story. And there's 1,000 love stories we could go off of. We could dream up. And it's not the one that we probably dreamed up when we were 6 or 7 and playing home or house with anyone. Right. But it's so much sweeter in the place that you're at now.
Oh, man, yeah.
Than the place you would have ever been, even if you decided at that moment that this was my husband. Like, the trials and tribulations have created so much wisdom, so much togetherness, so much goodness, and so much testimony for your children to forever live and walk into.
Yeah, and it was a choice.
There you go.
There were a bunch of choices. There was a bunch of bad ones, and there were a bunch of good ones. When I really, truly surrendered my will and whatever I thought I wanted, God always has something better for you. I saw this, it was a post one time. It was a little girl. Some of you may have seen it, and she has this teddy bear, and she loves it. Yeah. And she's holding it. She's like, but I want it. And Jesus is on his knee, and he has this huge, ginormous teddy bear behind her.
Yes, I've seen this, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes we think we want something else, but God has something so much more for us. And we just have to trust him. We have to trust the one that knows the number of hairs on our head. We have to trust the one that was there with us. We were in the darkness being formed and knitted in our mother's womb. We have to trust the one that allowed us to be that 1 in a million or whatever the sperm count, to be the one to be here on earth. Yeah. We have to trust him. Yeah. Because he is the one that called us here for a special purpose. Yeah. Special assignment.
Get out of our own way.
Get out of our own way. Get out of our head. And just focus on him.
Yeah. Man, we could have 1,000 podcasts, because I was just thinking about Mind World and Crash the Chatterbox, and that's another podcast.
Listen, Mind World was the thing that Mind World was the thing that set me on the path to where I am today.
Yeah. So tune in to Ron Carpenter's Mind World series.
Like 7 of them.
It's free on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just like this podcast. Go listen today.
Listen to Mind World, please.
It will free you. It will free you. It was absolutely freeing. And I remember when you told me to listen to it, and I'm like, okay, great.
And then he did another one called Detox. Yeah. That was a follow-up, but it was like so many series after.
Yeah.
That dude's just a bomb.
He's so good. Ron Carpenter. Shout
he's amazing.
Yeah. So good.
Favorite preacher man.
Yeah, so good.
So awesome.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Madelyn, you are so special to me.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And I can't wait to title this episode, because I have so much goodness. I'm like, this is so good. So stay tuned for the title. Stay tuned for the YouTube version. And thank you guys on Facebook and Instagram for tuning in live. We love you. See you later.
See ya.
I'm Tamara Andress. I'm your Fit and Faith host, and I am so excited to just be here to share with you other movers, dreamers, shakers, entrepreneurs, pastors, whatever. If you've got a head and you've got a heart, I'm so excited to explore who that is, whose you are, and discover your wholeness, your health, your wealth, and your joy. I love to exude happiness. I want people to know that this is not, this came with trial. You guys, this came with a lot of effort. This came with a lot of lows and so many highs. And I want us to experience those together. This is a real community of dreamers, and I'm excited to help catapult your calling, your kingdom experience, the purpose of your imprint on the world, wherever, however that is. So come along for the ride. I'm excited to chat with you. Like, comment, review, send me a DM, send me an email. It's me responding, even though I have an incredible team. And so I'm just excited to get to know you. Let's connect, let's create community, and let's walk in our calling.